Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch. Hello, my name is Harrington Buatco. Welcome to the program. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Alam mo, marami nagsasabi sa akin, alam mo, Harry, magtagalog ka naman. Alam mo, tama po yun eh. Kaya lang, pag Ilocano ka, maintindihan mo ba Tagalog ko? Kung Cebuano ka, ako pinakikinggan ko yung mga napinsala sa Yolanda, hindi ko naintindihan yung Bisaya eh. Mas lalo yung mga tiga-Davao. Hindi, may Bicolano. Ladies and gentlemen, mag-English na lang po tayo because after all, this was our edge. Or mag-Taglish tayo. Pero ang sama naman eh, we're ruining English and we're ruining Tagalog. Nevertheless, let's go to the issues at hand. Magta-Taglish na lang ako para both sides magkaintindihan. What is the truth? That's the topic that we are going to discuss today. The problem is, we have a democracy and we enjoy the freedoms. In fact, we take it for granted. We take our freedoms for granted, so much so that because of the new platforms in media, meron na tayong internet, mas lalo na Facebook. Naku, minsan yung language sa Facebook talagang banatan eh. And there is nothing wrong when I complain, or you complain, or another person in FB. Pag ayaw mo siya, naririnig mo, just unfriend. Yun ang maganda ron eh. When you read the newspaper and you don't like the columnist, don't read his column. And if you don't like my biases, don't watch my show. Parang ganun lang po yun. You have the freedom to tune in or tune out. But, because it's a democracy, we have the right. In fact, it is our responsibility to speak out and have oversight over our government. The government is responsible to us and not us to them. The president was right when he said we are the bosses. That's why I find it funny when congressmen, governors, mayors, senators even, walk around with those low number plate numbers, and alam na nila traffic, and then they're like ambulances. And they horn themselves. Wala na kasing wang-wang. So, gagawin nila, meron silang kasamang hagad. It's ridiculous. It is our country. It is our freedoms. Now, it's okay to complain. It is rude to get personal. It is good to point out views. It is in bad taste to start saying bad words. Hindi naman tama po yun. And then, of course, there are people who don't know what they're talking about, don't read enough, don't basically understand all the issues, and have all kinds of points of views. Mali rin naman dapat po yun, ano? Hindi maganda. In GNN, as a whole, I have to admit, what's happened, I've helped bring in a lot of hosts, and right now, there is an imbalance of positions. It seems many of our hosts, including my show, guilty, that we are tending to be anti the administration, and it's called Pinoy bashing. It's not right. It's wrong. You, as the viewer, should be given all sides, and for you to have that critical thought. Because after all, at the end of the day, the shows are here for you. Now, the only way we can balance that off is to start bringing in people and hosts in the program, in GNN, to, if not tilt the weight, at least sana maganda balance. So we hear both sides. In regular media, in private media rather, nangyayari dyan, it's born or directed by personal interest. Ang tawag po dyan negosyo. When it comes to government stations, why not? The gargantuan PR movement or machinery of the government. Every president requires this. Every government requires it. An independent station like GNN, hindi naman ata maganda lahat tayo Pinoy bashing. Let's hear both sides. Not necessarily just in one show, but from host to host. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start that off. I have a friend, a guest. I vouch for their family. I've known them since I was a kid in school. I know the whole family, in fact. They're very politically inclined. And I know for a fact, and I will base my reputation on it, that whatever they say and do comes from the heart, and it's with study, it's learned. I know, because all these brothers, all throughout the school when we were in Ateneo, are all top students. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Ricky Avancena in front of you. Salamat, Ricky. Pare, sorry, mahaba-haba intro ko. Pero quinalify ko naman, Ricky Avancena, family Avancena.
Salamat, Harry. Thank you for having me here. Alam mo, it's nice to be in cable TV because I can speak English. I usually write for Filipino Mirror. It's a tabloid.
Yes.
And then once a week, I go out on Radyo ng Bayan. It's AM. So,
Nananagalog ka doon.
Masarap din makapag-English.
Well, this is now a UHF, believe it or not. It's on free TV. It's free on air.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it hits both ways. But we're on 300 over cable channels. On GSAT, I think we have close to 150,000 subs. Plus, in Metro Manila and Sky Cable, it's on 213 and Channel 8 in Destiny. So the reach is all over now.
Sige,
Let's start this out, Rick. Ricky, I've known your family. Your family's always been, in fact, you had no choice. You grew up with it. Your dining table talked about current events in the country. Ever since bata pa tayo, I had long hair and I just watch you guys talk during dinner, di ba?
Sure.
Because of your mother, I mean, Mrs. Quezon, di ba?
Sure.
So no choice. Over the years, it's happened. What I particularly like is your position towards President Noynoy. You seem to adhere to his policies and like his direction. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, yes. Allow me to clear that up a bit.
Yes,
you know, it's nice for you to have me here to represent the administration, although I don't work for them.
That's the whole idea.
Okay, good.
Because if you did, you'd be pressured with specific interests.
Now, I get a bit of airtime from Radyo ng Bayan, but I think I have to pay for that.
Okay.
But anyway, having said that, you know, we must feel lucky that we have a president who, maraming nagsasabi dyan, nakikita mo dyan, yung mga threads sa Facebook, di ba, parang, oh, that guy doesn't know anything, he just got into there by accident because of his mother, because of his father, ganyan. Well, that is the upside also. The upside is this guy ran without any baggage. We have someone now, for example, there are many people now already gunning for the presidency. We know who the front runners are.
Yeah.
There is a man who is not a dark horse, but is...
Well, no, that's another side.
But anyway,
yeah.
So they're already incurring debts. Nakakautang na yan sa kung sino man ang nilalapitan nila. Ang layo pa ng eleksyon. So, you know, by the time they get there, they're beholden to every other vested interest. And all the private commercial interests by the time you get there. So this guy, out of the blue, was recruited in fact, by a volunteer army, in effect. And that's how he got into power. So, when they say, walang alam yan, I beg to disagree. The president was congressman, he was senator. So, you know, and then, so he got there without any baggage, without any political baggage, meaning he didn't owe people. Because he didn't have to go for it. He didn't really have to run 3 years before or 6 years before, which is what everybody else is doing. So that is the upside.
But being president, being the leader of the country, shouldn't you have that aspiration ever since you're a kid? I'm sure Ping Lacson, for example, I mean, from a regular policeman, going all the way up to having become the senator with aspirations of becoming the leader. What's his name? Jingoy Estrada, from his father being an artista, accidentally getting into politics from being the mayor to vice mayor to the presidency. His aspirations, his sights are headed for a political position, the highest in the land. Don't discount Cayetano, now Grace Poe, and all. You have to want to be the leader, isn't it? Shouldn't it be, if you wanted to be president, rather than say, pare, ikaw na lang, shoe-in ka na lang?
Well, at the time that there was a critical mass behind this presidency, and he said, okay, I'm going to take this on, I believe at that point he knew what he was up against and what the responsibilities were that he would take on. And then at that point, he signed on to it, full-heartedly. But then again, before that, I think he was just happy to have had his mother as president. I mean, all I'm saying is, it's not a bad thing coming from nowhere. I mean, not coming from nowhere, but you know, when they
Those
say...
are the realities. Parang
Yeah,
gano'n na lang. How about assessment of him, basically his performance? It's in 3.5 years. I'm not sure I'm seeing a lot of infrastructure coming up. There's been a lot of promises. There's a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of confusion. Sometimes I don't know what the truth is anymore, Ricky. To tell you the truth, I read Facebook messages. I know most are hearsay. I listen to our hosts here in GNN. Some of them are really, really strong. I read a lot of editorials by regular columnists of the broadsheets, the major broadsheets. You no longer know anymore who is saying what. Even the palace sometimes, they conflict with each other.
Yes.
That fight between the communications group, the 4 people.
Yes.
I mean, listening to La Sierda and the woman, Valte, I'm not sure if they're mad at the media or the other way around, and then you've got the other 2, and the other one resigning, incidentally. Parang there is confusion in the leadership. How do you assess his performance to date? On a very straight, simplistic form.
Well,
You're happy?
Yes, I'm very happy. You know, in the beginning, when he was running, I thought it was a bit simplistic to say, kung walang corrupt, walang mahirap. Parang hindi ko ma-get.
That's a terrific line, Ricky.
Well, you know, but I just couldn't get it. I was like thinking, but what is the dream? What are we doing? What are you going to do? But, you know, in the end, it's proven to be right because apparently there's so much money being wasted. So that, you know, if we save and if you plug the holes in government, that there is quite enough to go around to address social programs and poverty alleviation, etc. So what has he done since getting into office? He's tried to reform the bureaucracy, go after the corrupt people, and then plug the loopholes. Plug kumbaga yung mga butas sa barko para hindi lumubog.
But, okay,
Ngayon, sinasabi mo yung infrastructure. Kasi ang first year, titigilin mo muna lahat, di ba? Parang, tingnan natin.
Stop muna, stop.
Stop muna. Ngayon, dumadami na yung pera, lumalaki ngayon yung ano.
At lumaki.
Lumaki yung pera natin, nagkaroon ng climate for economic change.
Correct.
And the investors are happy because, you know, everybody knows, every other investor knows what they're up against when you deal with the government here. You know,
Sadly,
red
but
tape, corruption. So, in addressing that, even before you actually get any gains from addressing it, just the mere fact that you say, I'm going to clean up, pasok agad ang investor. Di ba? That is the confidence, the climate of confidence that was created. Okay. Pagpasok niya, tigil muna. Plug na loopholes. Tapos, ang mahirap dyan, pagpasok mo, saka mo lang makikita kung ano nangyayari. For example, I'll give you a perfect example. The Secretary of Department of Agrarian Reform or the Secretary of Agriculture, when they get in, all those funds that were to be channeled to bogus NGOs, for example, dun pa lang nila nakita Pero nakaprogram ng lumabas yung pera.
Tinigil lahat.
Well, ngayon pa lang nila nalalaman So, kung minsan, yan lang nangyayari ngayon. When they see something that was nakaprogram na yung pera, sasabihin nila, awatin natin dahil bogus pala yung NGO, ngayon lang lumabas Sasabihin ng tao, nakaupo na kayo dyan nun Kasali kayo dyan. Diba? So that is
true.
Yeah, but that's why basically, I would like to think I'm a revolutionary. I'm not a reformer. Mas madali yung magrevolusyon Diba? Parang, sige, linya natin lahat ng mga magnanakaw, gilitan natin ang leeg. Diba? Parang, in an ideal, well, not an ideal world, but you know, it's easier to be a revolutionary than a reformist. Reform is a tedious task. You know, you're plugging one hole, another hole comes out, and then, you know, all I'm saying is, I think they were not prepared for the, you know,
Corruption, the massive
corruption.
corruption.
The entrenched corruption.
Okay.
So, nakatigil muna lahat ng infrastructure project. Now, I think they're starting to bid them out, but hey, he has 3 years. We don't know what will happen.
2.5.
2.5.
2.5, the way it's going. I mentioned once on FB as well, and you made a comment which got me, and I said, interesting. Well, which is correct, and I let it go. And it's probably another point of view, which I enjoy. Mahirap naman yung yes man Then you tend to get bored, di ba? I mentioned that during his sauna, the last 2 saunas, especially the last one, 1 hour and 45 minutes, walang tigil. Gee, hindi lang ako nakarinig ng taong ganun. Parang, there is no passion. There is no comprehension of the delivery of the message he's trying to convey. I don't know anybody who can speak in that speed, that kind of Tagalog, I had a hard time understanding it. I've had to read it slowly to understand his points of views.
Sure.
And then, to a point, he lambasts the Bureau of Customs, but he refuses to accept the resignation of the person he appointed there, Biasson. Of course, till recently, it's a different story.
Sure.
But I found that interesting. And then you said, you came back and you told me, Harry, why do you fault him for, you said something, why do you fault him for something that's done very well? It's like a talent, correct?
Well, it's just, maybe the last one was not as inspired as the first two ones. But,
The first two are good.
But
The
you
last
know-
one is a bit problematic.
but you cannot argue with success. If it used to be 7 to 8 people out of 10 approved of his presidency. I don't know, maybe now it's playing to around 6 to 7. 6 to 7 people per 10.
You're talking of the surveys.
Yes.
If you believe the surveys.
Well, I will have to. These are the numbers we go by.
Oh, but
These are the
many are
numbers we go-
questioning it. The netizens question it. And a lot of people are questioning it. No, simply because of the interrelationships of his family. For
Okay.
example, what's his name?
That the survey groups are basically owned by them.
Yes.
Okay.
LOPA. The LOPA
Okay,
group
sure.
it owns it. Hindi pwede, may interest eh. Now, I understand why the president requires a massive PR media campaign. Why not? All presidents require it. The problem is what is true, what is not. As of late, again in the netizen area, Carmen Pedrosa brings up a report. Is this guy, Pinoy, autistic or not? Is he a special child? I came across a person, or better yet, it's not me, I wrote it again on Facebook, going back, it's my son, who's about 21 years old, and he met an autistic person, and he was so impressed with the presentation of a single idea, consistent, non-stop for 10 to 12 minutes. You could not get in, you couldn't put a word in. Tuloy-tuloy. After that, there's complete exhaustion, and there's no comprehension anymore of anything else. There is talk, he is a special child. You disagree with that?
I disagree with that totally.
You know him personally.
I know him personally. We went to school together in high school. The guy's
He's a regular guy. He's
He's
a regular dude.
guy.
He's a regular guy.
That is, perhaps that is the crux of the issue here. He's too much of a regular guy.
Well, it's great to have a regular guy.
I think so. You know, people say he's not that glamorous, that he doesn't project all that well. Maybe so. But he's scrupulously honest. And so...
But he never got into politics, other than he got in because his
Well, he was
mother
a
was
congressman
already...
in Tarlac.
Yeah, because
Then
his
as-
mother sort of was, it was a push in or shoe in. But even when he was congressman, even when his mother was the president, he was not politically inclined. Wala naman siyang interest sa politics. Or maybe it was just the time of his life.
Look, you know, seriously, the guy can defend himself. So I feel a bit awkward having to do this. But you know that autistic thing? They brought that up during the campaign.
They did.
It keeps coming up. And then, you know, the same people are
Father
saying...
Balitog in Ateneo supposedly has the report. Again, let's go to other things. Let's go to, now they're saying, the poor man Pinoy, I've met him, and like you, I agree that he's quite simple. And like you, I think I will not bat an eyelash. I think the guy's honest. So I'm not going to even question that. I may not like his sisters, but I like him personally. I will not challenge or even ask him about his integrity. But I do have problems with the way the government's been run. Is he a puppet and the puppeteers behind him the ones running the show? Okay, let's go to certain issues and sort of discuss those issues.
Wait, let me jump in. He is a puppet.
Oh,
He
you
is a-
agree with that?
Yes, he is a puppet of the Filipino people.
Sige. Okay ka.
Yun ang
Okay.
boss niya. Yun ang
Okay,
boss niya.
okay.
So, yun ang boss niya.
Okay.
Puppet siya ng taong bayan.
Let's go to some of the issues that have been coming on. DAP. Anong feeling mo sa DAP? Anong quick analysis?
Well, we have a strong presidential system. The president has to have a lot of leeway. So, the DAP in itself, whether it's constitutional or not, I don't understand
Do you
it.
agree with it?
With the DAP?
Yes.
I agree that the president must have access to whatever funds are available to him legally. Ang labo nun.
No. Okay.
But of course, I mean, you
The
know,
power of the purse, di ba? The way you and I understand it.
Yes.
Diba? Our politics. Politics
Okay.
101. The power of the purse, it stays with Congress. who are representatives of the people, the many districts and party list. Okay. Sila magdi-decide saan tayo gagastos, bakit, ano yung mga proyekto. But they should not have the money. Kaya nga, the Supreme Court decided and overruled their past rulings na wala ng PDAF, walang pork.
Sure.
Legislation lang kayo. Dapat ganon. Okay. Pagdating sa presidente, implementation lang sila. Mas lalo na DBM. But that, singularly, our classmate, si Butchabad, di ba? Well, my classmate, bata ka sa akin.
Sure.
Okay. Butchabad, singularly, in his position, without the signature of the president, was able to divert, impound, take from one fund to another to spend elsewhere, now to the tune of close to $1 trillion, and to date, we are not given any accounting. This is the problem with DAP. And the fact, DAP, the word D, the letters DAP, Disbursement Acceleration Program, does not exist. It's a mimic, or it's an image or a mutation that
Well, to get
that
back to our
Butchabad
opening,
came up.
opening arguments, it was you yourself said walang nangyayari sa infrastructure. So ang nangyayari sa sinabi nila nagagalit ang tao, walang nangyayari daw. So
Totoo, wala nang, di ba?
sabi nila
Slow down.
So sabi ng Pangulo, okay, there's that provision in the Constitution about what you can do with savings to realign it. So he said, okay, so now we will accelerate the disbursement. So that is the disbursement acceleration, di ba?
But it's illegal.
So,
to my mind, I think it's supposed to be illegal because how can one man overrule the whole of Congress? You have 300 representatives. No matter whether we like them or agree with them or not, the point is the power of the purse stays with Congress.
But this is my take on that. Do you know, Harry, that kasi yung mga tao natin, like you say, a lot, will not really bother to find out how government works. You know how government works. You've seen Congress, you know.
Yeah, it's sad.
No, but that is the power of the purse is from the legislative, di ba? The power to allocate funds.
Correct.
Okay. Pero hindi yung PDAF ang pinakamalaking source of corruption. Yung insertion.
Isa pa yan. Yeah, agree.
Hindi. Magkano lang
Pork din yun eh.
Magkano lang yung nakukuha nila? 50 million ng congressman, 200 million ng ang senador. So, i-cut mo na doon. Let's say, ninakaw nila lahat yun. 200 lang yun. Ang insertion, unlimited. So, ano sinasabi nila ngayon? Sige, yung mga nahuli natin ng mga mambabatas na magnanakaw, ibalik natin sa kanila uli yung...
You're saying that DAP came from...
No, all I'm saying is, everybody says, okay, ipasok nyo sa budget. Okay,
correct.
so ano, paano lalabas sa budget yan? May isang kalyeng gagawin dito. Yung pala, yung kalyeng yun sa harapan ng beach resort ni Congressman. Sa harapan ng...
Okay.
Sa harapan ng subdivision ni Senator. Hindi ba? But anyway, all I'm saying is, corruption, you can fight corruption in any system. Ang Pinoy lalo na. Kung anong sistema, magagawa niya ng paikot, pabalandra, pahalang. Di ba?
Rick, we're at the bottom of the hour. I like that. I like the way you come back to me against the DAP. Most people will fold and most people will say, "Ne, tama yan, Harry, corrupt yan. Hindi tama ang ginagawa ni Abad." That's nice, the way you put it. It's nice that you actually promoted. You're not saying it's what's happening, but it's possible na kinuha naman nila sa mga insertion kasi lalaki ng pera doon, baka naman corrupt yung mga ways doon, kaya iniba na lang nila. But anyway, you're not here to discuss the DAP and whatnot. We're here to discuss the image, the presentation of what we call the president and how he stays with the people.
Sure.
We're going to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, the exercise here is not necessarily to go into the issues of the DAP. Let's leave that to the Supreme Court. Tomorrow naman lalabas yan. The exercise is not to find out, ikaw tama, ikaw mali. No. The exercise here is someone for a change is standing up for the palace. Here in GNN. Wow! Need I say more? We'll be right back.